Hello again, this is Bill Lindeman along with Mike Siver, and we're here with the Blue Seahorse Show. And Mike is a family therapist, a reality therapist. And we have an interesting topic today about the little boy and the old man. Mike, it's intriguing. Do you want to tell us what that's about?
Yes, Bill, and thank you.
Sure.
Because of the business I'm in and because of the news today, a lot of young people are getting in trouble and senior people are being ignored. And it's not that drastic like they're all ignored, but it's a system that's been going on for years. And in one of the books I wrote, What Role Did I Play?
Right.
We talk about life skills for discussion. Now, I'm going to read an excerpt from a poem. It's from A Light in the Attic. And it says, "Said the little boy, sometimes I drop my spoon. Said the little old man, I do that too. The little boy whispered, I wet my pants. I do that too, laughed the little old man. Said the little boy, I often cry. The little old man nodded, so do I. But worst of all, said the boy, it seems grown-ups don't pay any attention to me. And he felt the warmth of a wrinkled old hand. I know what you mean, said the little old man. And you look at the stories we hear on the news about, they created a law for against senior abuse.
Okay. Right.
Or senior neglect.
Yes.
It's like when you have a child, people get paid to take care of that child and to teach them to learn, which we all should do.
Sure.
Teach them to learn to get along in life and how to be appropriate and survive when they become adults. But it seems when we become seniors, rather than people being paid to teach us to learn or our parents teaching us to learn, we got to be paid. We got to pay to survive.
Okay.
You go into a senior center or a senior home, it costs a fortune.
Yes, it's true.
And you got to pay to be taken care of. And I'll read some more out of the chapter here in a minute, but it just seems like the very people that we spend our adulthood trying to help young people grow up properly, when we become seniors, they ignore us. We spend so much time helping them that when they get to be the age where they can take care of seniors, whether it be their grandmother or mother, they're too busy. They got too much to do. I don't have time.
Right.
Well, we made time for you as a child, and I'm hoping that when I get to that stage that one of my children or someone that I've helped in the past will be there for me. But I can only hope that.
Yes.
There's no guarantees.
Sure.
And if you go to, and you and I talked about this earlier, if you happen to live in a socialist country or a socialist system, when you get to be a certain age, there's some questions about whether you get a heart transplant, whether you get a lung transplant, how much money, and it comes down to money. How much money are they going to spend on someone who may only live another 5 years or another 10 years? But without question, we'll do it to a young person, and I understand that.
Sure.
And I understand the mechanics of money versus life. I don't like it, but I understand it. That we become a value, a detriment to the system after a certain age. And some of the smartest and most intelligent people I know are seniors. And they've got a lot to say and a lot of history to partake onto the younger generation, but they're ignored. You're just an old man. It wasn't like that. It's not like that anymore. We always, as elder people, when I was young, we used to have to walk barefoot to the school in the wintertime, uphill both ways. Well,
Yeah.
You know that's a joke and you know it's stupid.
Yeah.
But the younger people today, and I thought it when I was 16 years old, it's not like today, Mom. It's not like it was when you were a girl. It's not like it when you were my age. It's different. And it is to a certain extent. I mean, technology is wonderful today. I'm happy as a senior that I'm not as fast as a lot of the young people, but I can muddle my way through computers, and I can get online, and I can find problems and fix them. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Probably more proud of it than they are, that I can still do it. To them, it's second nature. So things have changed as far as automobiles. I mean, it's amazing what I got when I was 16, what the 16-year-olds get today. I watched a TV show today about driverless cars.
Yes.
And they had 6 of them in a row without drivers. The drivers started them. It was an amazing video. The drivers started out driving the cars. They got them all in line, all doing the same speed. And they jumped out of the car through the sunroof onto a semi-truck riding beside them. And the cars are going down the road, still going, steering themselves and speeding. The semi-trailer pulled in front of the first car, and they were all going down the road, and he slammed on his brakes.
Okay.
6 cars behind him, close. They all stopped, and there was no accidents. Technology today is wonderful. It's going to save lives. It's going to save thousands of lives. I hate to see what 6 drivers were doing down the road. They'd all smash into each other.
Yeah.
But as seniors, we have a lot to offer and a lot of skills to give and to hand down, and we tend to be ignored. And you can't even hardly get an audience together to hear just some of your stories. I've often wished when I would go to a senior center, and I used to do it occasionally, is take a tape recorder and just listen to them talk. Record some of this stuff. It's amazing.
It's good oral history, too. It's a good practice to find things that have changed, and have a good, fresh perspective on what it was like.
Well,
That's a smart thing to do anyway, is to get an oral history of older people.
but younger people don't do it
They don't understand. They're not thinking about that.
unless they're getting paid for it.
Yeah. But I do want to say, I know some families where the grandparents are involved in the family and they are taken care of. But these are families that are functional and have been for a couple generations.
Yeah.
So there's a continuity there. But for most of us, the continuity isn't all that. And there are younger people who move on to other cities and do other things or have accidents and don't survive.
Well,
Yeah, so not everybody is that prepared.
No, they're not, but they should be. They should be thinking about it as they're growing up.
Yeah.
When my mom gets to be where she needs some help, I need to be in a position to help her. Not just go and visit her once a week,
Right, sure.
or not just take the grandkids once a month.
Yeah,
Well, we need to be in a position to help that person.
right.
My brother, when our mom got ill, he wanted to build an addition onto his house to house her.
Yeah,
Well, her disease came on so quick that he didn't have time to do that.
yes.
And she wasn't able to live in a home. She had to be taken care of 24/7. So that got to that point. But he was going to do that. And we had all the money together and everything else to do it, but it didn't happen. Just building an addition onto your house, first of all, would increase the value of your house. After, God forbid, the senior person passed away, you have an expanded house.
Yes.
And increases your value of your house if you want to get value out of it. But it allows you to give back.
Right.
It allows you to give back to people who gave to you. And that's what I wrote this chapter about, is giving back. And there's some excerpts from it. It says, we give all the attention needed to support the youth growing up. If our young children drop their spoon or anything else, we pick it up for them, or allow them time to do it so they feel good about themselves. Our job is to help our children have self-esteem, have pride, start accomplishing things,
Yes.
tying their own shoes. I can sit here and visualize a young child trying to tie their own shoes, and a senior citizen trying to tie their own shoes.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's the same struggle.
I know. Yeah.
Sometimes the seniors really feel proud. Well, I tied my own shoes today.
Sure.
Well, that's more serious than it sounds, because to them it was a pride. It was a huge
Sure,
thing.
an accomplishment.
Yeah. If our young children wet their pants, we know that we know they do not do it on purpose. So without wanting to embarrass them, or let them, or help them change their clothes, and do not make a big scene about it.
Mhm.
So we want to create some self-esteem and stop them from being embarrassed.
Mhm.
Why don't we do that for seniors?
Yeah.
Why do we make such a big thing about, we got to buy a box of Depends for you today? You know, it's time you need to go on Depends.
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
Sure. Sure.
You know, it hurts. I've seen seniors, they hurt when they have to be in that situation where they become incontinent. There doesn't seem to be any sympathy. Oh, she's just old, or he's just old, he's incontinent now. It comes with the thing. Make sure you talk slow and clear so they can understand you.
Well, again, I don't want to be contrary to what you're saying, but some families, I don't see that in some families. There are some maybe I'm just fortunate to be around some really good people, but there are families where they do care about each other, and they, you know, the older generation has taken care of themselves throughout their lives, and they are in good shape. But that doesn't always happen. Most of the time, it doesn't happen.
Well, I agree
So,
with you 100%,
yeah,
Bill.
yeah.
There are some wonderful families out there,
Mhm.
and there are some families that really plan for the future.
Yeah.
They plan for taking care of their seniors, their grandparents and their parents,
Mhm.
and even some of their brothers and sisters as they become seniors.
Mhm.
And they do a wonderful job.
Mhm.
And they're out there, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're a minority.
Right, they are.
And I think you know that. They're
Well, that's why we have nursing homes that are full of people. You know, it's sad. That's really sad.
And if you doubled the size, they'd still be full of people.
Yeah, that's even sadder. You know, wow. Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and offer an answer.
Mhm.
We're just making a discussion here on the sameness, or the commonality
Mhm.
between raising young children and the need to support exactly the same needs almost
Mhm.
in senior citizens.
Yes. Well, you're right. You're right.
And we somehow lose that when they become seniors.
Mhm.
How many nurses have to spoon feed a senior citizen, which is fine, it's their job, and they do it, and I'm sure they do it with compassion, and they do it with love, and they do it with care, I'm sure. But it's not somebody that means anything to them. It's not like their daughter doing it, or their son feeding them, or their grandson feeding them.
I think in many cases there are people that help them who don't like the job or not doing it, you know, with love.
And we hear about that a lot.
Oh yeah.
About senior abuse, and you see
Sure.
the videos of them
Yeah.
even hitting seniors.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
makes you nervous. You know,
Mhm.
how do those people? And again, what role do they play, and how did they get?
Sure,
to,
sure.
How did they get to be where they believe it's okay to hit a senior citizen
Mhm.
in a hospital bed, in a room?
Mhm.
Where do they understand that that's okay? And that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, they probably hit their kids, and probably were hit when they were growing up by their parents. So they're probably just carrying it on.
Yeah,
It's
they
sad.
could very well be, but
Yeah.
you wonder if that was their grandmother, would they do it?
Mhm.
You know, it's scary.
Yeah.
If our children start to cry, we ask why and work very hard to understand. We also reassure our children it is okay to cry, and those who love them will hold their hand until they feel better.
Mhm.
What about a senior citizen who's crying?
Mhm.
What do the family do about that? And I know there's good ones out there that care, but how many senior citizens do you think sit in a room by themselves, and most of the time they're alone,
Mhm.
because usually one spouse or the other's already died,
Mhm.
and they cry a loneliness? Who's there to care? Who's
Right,
there to
right.
hold their hand?
Yeah.
Who's there to sing a lullaby
Mhm.
or sing a song?
Sure.
I think some of the same lullaby songs we sing to our children, we could probably sing to our adults and get a better result.
Well, there's a man locally, we've had him in the studio for various shows, Bob Rowe. And he has a organization called Renaissance Enterprises, and he has groups of people go to nursing homes and perform music. And he said, you wouldn't believe how happy that makes them.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just makes their day. And that's his ministry, and he does a terrific job with it. It just shows you the need for love and for connection with others. There's a real deep need for it.
Well, I had a friend that started a program. He started a program by accident.
Mhm.
And his son had a party for, I don't know what he was, 5 or 6 or 7 years old or whatever it was. Birthday party, and a lot of balloons at the
Yeah.
party.
Mhm.
So when the party was over, the son was going to run around, and he told his dad with a pin and pop all the balloons. And the dad said, no, 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 no. Did these balloons make you, and this was a really inspirational thought this
Uh-huh.
guy had.
Sure.
Did these balloons make you happy? Oh, they did, they're wonderful. He said, let's make somebody else happy with your same balloons. He put them all in the car, got the kids in the car, and they went to a senior center. And the kids drug all these balloons in, and they were just balloons, nothing else, and gave them to the seniors just for balloons. He said they stayed there for hours talking to these seniors and having a good time.
Yeah.
The seniors were happy, they were excited. They got some personal attention from young people, and it's amazing how little it takes. But do we take the effort? We don't usually
Yeah,
take that much
that's right.
effort.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an effort on the father's part to do that. I used to run a program in Orlando, Florida called Project Joy.
Uh-huh.
And Project Joy was joining older and younger together.
Okay, that's great.
And that's what it was. And
Yeah.
what I used to do is take young people to a senior center. We had this planned ahead of time. We would pick up the seniors, the same amount of seniors we had with kids,
Uh-huh.
go to the riverbank, and go fishing.
Mhm.
The seniors would sit down there with one child, and I would space them way far apart. And they stayed there for hours until that child got to know that senior. They fished, and they talked about fishing, they talked about life, all kinds of stuff. And then we would go back to that senior center with the same kids to see the same seniors, like once a month. And we did that with different senior centers, so it wasn't just one. Until they got to know the senior's birthday, they got to know, and the senior got to know their birthday and their name, and they became friends. And it was an exciting, exciting time to watch these kids. As far as I know, the program is still going on. It was a lot of fun and real successful.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? We could do it here.
There's no reason we can't.
Yeah.
Just
They could
gotta,
be done anywhere.
it can. And we did
It's
it
a
down there.
terrific
but
idea.
It was a great idea, and it worked well. And it's not hard to do. And get a couple church groups or school groups together, and even use the name Project Joy, joining olders and youngers,
Sure.
or whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird name, but it works.
I think it's a great name.
Well, let's do it, Bill.
Okay.
Let's get one going.
It sounds really good. Yeah.
If your young child is looking lonely, we will sit with them and make sure they're included with more of the family activities until they stop feeling like no one is paying attention to them. Does that sound like a senior not being included in
Sure.
anything?
Yeah, yeah.
It's so scary when you read this and think about it, how we treat our seniors versus how we treat the young people. And the young people are learning, and we talk about that a lot, environmental learning. The young people growing up in this home whose mother and father, or their children's grandmother or grandfather, or both, are in senior centers.
Right.
They see their father and mother ignoring them. Well, they don't realize that that's going to happen to them when they become seniors.
And they're going to do the same.
Their kids are going to ignore them.
Yeah, sure.
And the kids are seeing that. They're learning that. Well, we don't pay any attention to old people because you're not mom and dad.
Yeah,
You're not paying any attention to old people, so why should we?
yeah. That brings to mind, what role did I play?
What role did I play?
That's the title of the book. Yep.
Why is it, after being given all the support and attention we need as children, we treat those who gave us that support with such abandon when they get older? Why is it that after being made to feel good when we were down, being picked up after we had dropped things, and being helped to feel good after we might have embarrassed ourselves, we treat those who gave us their time with abandon when they get older? How do we really treat our parents and grandparents as they seem to require more and more attention? Let's remember to treat those who take care of us when we were children with respect and dignity like they did us.
Yes.
And that was the message for today on what are we teaching our children about the older generation? What are we teaching them as they're growing up about the older generation, and how do we make it okay to abandon them? And like the medical system, we talked about that a little bit earlier in the show. When there comes choice for a heart replacement or a heart operation or a lung transplant, senior citizens are looked at with second guessing. Do we really want to do this? How many years are they going to be able to have this lung and use it that we just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars getting and putting in? I understand putting it into a child, there's hopefully many, many years ahead for that child. But there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
That child can't run out and get run over on his bicycle the next day.
Sure.
So it's a similar situation. Chances are, if the young child takes care of himself, he'll live 20, 30, 50, 100 years. A senior's not going to live that long. But why do we make them a monetary value?
Well, then again, they might live 20 years more.
Well, they could.
Sure.
And the age is getting older and older as we go. And if you think back in Genesis with the Bible, God has set an age limit now that to 120. There's no reason we can't live to be 120, because that's in the Bible too.
Well, the Bible has up to 900 plus. So.
Well, those were the older, those were the before times. And he did do that for a reason. He brought it down to 120 years for a reason. And there's no reason we can't live to that. Right. That's my total expectation.
Right.
Is 120 years.
Sure. Good.
Yeah. And I've had that since I was a kid for some reason. So I'm anticipating really going to be annoying to some people for a long, long time.
Good. That's the idea.
And I'll be writing more books about it too.
Good.
But that was a concern to me. And then, like I said today, I heard on the news coming in that there's some Michigan Department of Human Services is under scrutiny for how they treat seniors. Some of it lack of attention. Now, it may be due, as you and I talked, it may be due to funding cuts. There may be some legitimate reasons, but no matter what happens, there's still the same seniors there.
Yeah, right.
So neglect is maybe they don't get 3 baths a day, they may only get 1, but still they get attention. I mean, they're not like, because there's no money, they don't exist anymore.
Yes.
They're still there. They still need their bed sheets changed every day. Some of them need more attention every day. And just because it's a budget cut and they're seniors, do we put a value on their life? You've done a great job so far. You may be, the father or mother of multiple children that are all business executives and whatever, but your life's over. We've deemed you done. And that's not right.
It sure isn't.
And maybe the seniors get more passionate about it because they are seniors and they can see it coming to them. I would hope that one day the young people, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds could think far enough ahead to their senior years. Right. What can I expect when I become a senior?
Well, you know what? That Project Joy you talked about is a real good way to learn. For a child to learn that. It's a really good way to do it.
Now I'm going to hold you to it. We're going to start the Project Joy.
Okay.
All right.
Sure. That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
And in doing that, maybe we can have some of them on here, have some of them on the show, the young people and the seniors, and what they've learned about each other, and because they learn a lot. And kids, as you know, as well as I do, they hear everything. And they listen more than we give them credit for. They understand more than we give them credit for.
Sure, yeah,
Uh,
right.
the schooling system today, the stuff that they're learning in the 4th and 5th grade are stuff that I didn't know until I got into middle school or even a couple years older. They're starting to do advanced stuff, reading, and most kindergartners can read before they get into kindergarten, in preschool. I think that's wonderful.
It is.
I think it's
It is,
amazing
yeah.
that they're learning how to read all that stuff ahead of time and listening to stuff that they're being told. We should be producing a lot on the world standard. I don't know how high we are on the education level,
It's not very high right now.
but that's a whole different, it's a whole other topic for another day.
Sure.
But today was talking about seniors and young kids, and the similarity is so identical
Yes.
of the needs that they need, the basic survival needs, the young person needs, and the old person needs. And yet we give all to the young people, which I can understand because they've got to grow up and be our leaders of tomorrow. But then we ignore the seniors that did all that raising, that did all that upbringing, that did all that education. We ignore them. And all of a sudden we just hear that so-and-so died or so-and-so
Yes.
died. And,
Yes, sure.
and that's it. You become a 2-paragraph column in the obituary and you're done. I hope there's more to life than that.
Right.
I hope there's more to our future and our feelings than that. That seems to be anticlimactic to me.
Well, you mentioned that Project Joy. I keep going back to that. I think that's a terrific idea. You know,
Well-
and it's something you were involved in, so you know how to start it and keep it going.
Well, I helped
think
start
that-
it. I helped start it and helped run it in
Yeah.
Orlando, and we can do it here.
Yes, it could be done anywhere, and that's a really good idea.
And I started a program, I created a program in Orlando called LEAD program, Leadership, Educational Awareness, and Diversity. And we used to do some very exciting things with leadership and educational awareness and diversity of population, and also diversity of things we did. So the diversity just wasn't in race, it was in everything that we did. And that got a lot of publicity and a lot of good stuff done with that program.
Well, see, now I'm learning things that you've done that I didn't know about.
Oh, I'm old, Bill. I've done a lot of things.
Well, you've done things. There's a lot of old people that have done very little.
Well, we can start a LEAD program as well. We can
Sure.
start a Project Joy program.
Yeah.
And they're not hard to do, and we don't need much. You just need the cooperation of some of the community centers,
Right.
the community programs, and you can start them, and they're really, really easy to do.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of support from the merchants and the establishments around if you do it correctly.
Sure.
And
That's
we can
true.
take time, we can write it up and do it properly
That's
and be
true.
fine.
Sure, sure.
I'll make some of my contacts in Orlando and get the paperwork sent up here.
Sure, and some of the churches, they already have an infrastructure
Yeah.
for helping. They may not be aware of something like this, and that's something they could easily.
Well, if we want to
Help with.
take a bunch of seniors and young people fishing,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure we can get some of the sports programs around here to donate a half dozen cane poles.
Sure, sure.
Nothing fancy.
Yeah,
Just sit on the bank and throw the cane pole out and catch a fish.
yeah.
I'm sure we could get something like that done. So anybody hearing that wants to help us get
Sure.
these things going,
Good idea.
feel free to give us a call.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we had a really productive show tonight about the young man and
The old man.
the
Young boy and the old
man.
Yep.
And I think we've decided to start something new, Project Joy or something like it.
Yep.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, thanks, Mike, and we're going to see you next week at the Blue Seahorse Show. And think about it and contact us if you can, if you want to, and we can start something.
All right.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.